Welcome to the Oxford Clay Pottery Podcast. I'm Catherine Tomlinson and I started an eco conscious pottery company called Oxford Clay. Now, Oxford Clay, I don't just make pottery, I also make books and courses for other potters who want to be more environmentally friendly in their pottery making. And that's what this podcast is all about. And I can't wait to get started. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the Oxford Clay Pottery Podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Tomlinson, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about making a hole in pottery. And like a really good way to make a hole or holes in your pottery, if that's something you wanted to do as part of your making process. So, first of all, why would you want to make a hole in pottery? Okay, so you could be making a bowl, and then I've seen this in a book recently. Actually, I got out of the library, making it into a colander. And what the person did in this book was that they drew some lines on the wheel. They sort of scored these lines. They made a bowl basically on the pottery wheel, and then they used the same pottery wheel. They turned the bowl upside down, and they were sort of crafting the base of it, crafting the foot, and then they just scored very faintly some lines in it to help them space the holes out. And then they used a tool to then make holes all the way around, evenly spaced apart, and made it into like a ceramic colander. And another reason that you might want to make a hole in pottery is that you might want to do it for like a sort of decorative purposes. So you might want to be another book I got at the library actually recently. It was on like the pool pottery industry, and it was just super interesting. It was like the history of the pool pottery industry, and there was this one picture in that book which had basically like a vase with a hole in it, and inside that was like another vase. And so they used the hole in the first vase as like a kind of decorative, like a sort of window into this, like a decorative effect into the other vase below. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's so beautiful. I've seen it before as well, where people they make holes in pottery to, say, for example, they're making like a nightlight holder or something, like for a candle, and they're like making holes, and then the light shines out of those holes. Like lampshades are another reason, and they look so beautiful. So yeah, it can be sort of like decorative effect, functional effect, like for function, like a colander. Also, you might be wanting to make something where you want to hang it up. So that's why I make holes in my pottery. I make sort of like these hanging decorations. I do hearts, but I also do sort of circles with like dragonflies pressed into them. And I put holes in the top of the piece. It's like a flat piece of pottery, and then I can thread in like just a cotton thread. Then like so people can like hang them up. So they're sort of so you can make sort of decorative things to hang on the wall out of ceramics, and you need a nice neat hole for that. Okay, so let's get on to like how you actually make a hole in pottery, because it's one of those things you think like, I know, I'll just, push something through like a pen or something and make a hole in pottery. But in the in the clay. But it's actually like it can I what I found in my own pottery is that it's quite difficult to make a hole that looks really neat and like tidy. And so that's what I thought. Let's do this episode, and then I'll tell you about a really good technique that you can use to make a really nice, neat hole. I'm just interrupting this episode to tell you about a totally free guide I've made just for you on how to make a stoneware pottery glaze. So, if you've never made a glaze before, or if you make loads of glazes and you just want a recipe, this guide is for you. It tells you everything you need to know, and it's available via the link in the show notes. Let's get on with the episode. So, or several holes if that's what you're making. So, okay, the first thing to say is that the stage of clay you're making the whole at is quite important. So, um, what I found best is that, like, when I'm making my flat decorative pieces that are going to be hanging up on the wall, and I want two nice, neat holes in there, The It's not a good idea for me to make those holes when the clay is quite wet. So when I'm sort of initially like pressing the dragonfly like design into that piece of clay, or like that is not the stage I want to be making the hole at. The ideal stage to be making a hole in pottery is the leather hard stage, and that's because the clay is just more robust. It's like gets out of shape less. You can sort of put a bit more pressure on it to make the hole. You don't want to be like, yeah, it's just so easy to knock your clay, and it's quite difficult to make a nice neat hole if you're doing it at the wet clay stage. Another important thing to say is that you don't want to be trying to make holes in your pottery when it's dry. Like bone dry clay is really prone to breaking. It's very brittle, and if you're trying to sort of make a hole in the clay, then yes, it is kind of in a way like easier because you can kind of push whatever you're trying to make the hole with, onto the clay, and it's more kind of solid in a way. But it will probably just kind of shatter your pot, not 100%. Like obviously, if you do it really carefully, it'll be fine. But it's just like it's also more difficult not to like break your pot basically if you're doing it at the dry stage. Another thing is it can create clay dust, which is not good. Don't want to be breathing in clay dust. So the leather hard stage is the optimum stage to be doing making those holes at. um yeah, and like you obviously don't want to be like trying to drill bisqueware as well. Ugh, that will probably shatter, but also it will be so much more effort to try and make the hole at that stage rather than just make the hole at the leather hard stage. Or even if at the end of making your pot and you fired it up to glaze temperatures, you really don't want to be trying to drill a hole in your pottery then. So yeah, leather hard stage is the optimum stage. So I've been like reading various books on kind of pottery recently from the library, and there's been two tools that I've seen potters use in like their sort of like this is how to do this and this is how to make a hole. And the two tools I've seen are, one of them is like a kind of apple corer, almost like type tool, and the potter in this book was basically pushing this. It's, yeah, an apple core, but you can also get it in like sort of different shapes. So it can be like square. It's kind of like got a sort of blade on it. It's like a kind of, if you imagine like a kind of square or hollow circle, like on a stick. And what they were doing was that and it sort of kind of got a blade on it. They were pressing that into their pot, and then they had a sort of some kind of pad behind it. So they were sort of pushing it through the wall of the pot at the leather hard stage, and then they were making a hole in their pot. Using that. So, like in the book, they showed like different sort of like shapes and different sizes of that tool. That if you were sort of you wanted to make a square hole or something, that would be a great tool to use. The second tool that I've seen people use in books is it's almost like an apple corer, but it's like a kind of it's like a longer, it's like a pointy version of it, and it's like a sort of almost like a semicircle. So it's like a pointy semicircle kind of knife, and they were just almost like using it with a twisting motion. And that's the collar, like I was saying to you about the colander I saw someone make it in a book. That's what they were using to make those holes. So they kind of like pointing it and like just twisting it on their pot, pointing it at the place they wanted the hole in at, and then just twisting it, and then it was just kind of taking out almost like an apple coring type motion, taking out that little bit of clay. But okay, I the way I use the way I make holes, the method I use is with a drill bit. Um, so, got a little video for you that I'm just showing you about like how I actually do this with a drill bit. So I basically usually do it by hand. The really good thing about drill bits is they come in so many different sizes. So you can get, really whatever size hole you want to make in your pottery, there'll probably be a drill bit for it. And obviously you're only making round holes with this. So that's kind of the limitation of a drill bit. But it's really good because they're very sharp, so that you don't have to apply much pressure to your pot when you're doing it. You literally just twist really gently on the surface of the pot. It's good if it's supported from behind, but you can just kind of support it with your hand or something, or it could be on a surface or something, and make sure obviously that the thing that you're sort of drilling by hand into isn't going to get like drilled, because they are quite sharp drill bits. So They could make a mark, say, like if you're doing it on a table or something, but you just literally twist it and it's twisting that clay out and making a really, really nice, neat hole. And then on the back of your pot, the whatever you're drilling the hole through with your hand, you can just scrape away the clay on the back, and that will create a really lovely, like neat like surface. And then you can just sponge as well, like say maybe when it's a little bit drier, you can just sponge it. Yeah, you can scrape it or sponge it, and you just get a really, really nice neat hole with a drill bit. And I actually also sometimes, if I want to save time and stuff, I actually stack a whole load of the little plates, little decorative plates that I'm making. I stack them all up with a decoration like in exactly the same place, and then I actually use a drill with a battery. So it's not a drill, I actually attach the drill bit to a drill. It's not a drill that's like a hammer drill or anything that's mains powered. It's not that. It's kind of the more kind of gentle battery powered ones that can go really, really slowly. And I actually sort of stack them all up, and then I just drill straight down into a whole stack of them, and that's like a really quick way as well of making holes in like a lot of items all at once. And then I sort of clean up each one individually. I sort of scrape the back of each one and sponge the back of each one just to make sure they're really, really neat. So yeah, so there we go. So yeah, there are various tools you can get to make holes in pottery. Doing it at a leather hard stage is the best stage to do it at. But my favorite way of doing it is with a drill bit. Either with a drill, you can do it with a drill, or you can literally just do it with your hand, just by picking up a drill bit and just very gently twisting it onto your pottery, and it makes a perfect hole every time. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode. It's been so nice to talk to you about making holes in pottery, and wishing you very happy potting. And I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me on that episode. And if you want to find out more about eco friendly pottery, head over to the Oxford Clay website, which is www.oxfordclay.co.uk. Can't wait to see you there.